Welcome to the Working Woman Report. I'm Allison Hans. Today's guest built an inspiring business out of a simple idea. Maria shares with us the nugget of inspiration that eventually turned her idea into a business with a mission. HerStory is an apparel brand that designs t-shirts and sweaters that celebrate the incredible contributions of remarkable women throughout history. Largely unknown to the general public, these accomplished women made their mark in different fields such as science, politics, and academics. With this venture, Maria hopes to honor these trailblazers while inspiring the next generation of girls and young women. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, my pleasure. So I want to know all about HerStory. We're looking at the sweatshirt right here.
HerStoryApparel.com.
You have such an amazing story. How did it start?
Thank you. Well, it kind of started with a nugget of an idea. I saw there was this big athletic campaign based around a woman, and she was wearing a shirt that said "Make History." And for some reason, I looked at that and I thought, wow, they really missed the mark. Because in that moment, I saw his story, and it was just this little nugget in my mind. And so I started talking to Jill, my business partner, about it, and it kind of just grew and grew, filed for the trademark, and we started researching incredible women that just did not get any recognition, and we thought, we really have an opportunity to do something really cool.
So with HerStory, did you always think clothing? Was that your business? Was that what you were in? Or was it just like the idea of HerStory?
Well, it was definitely not the business I was in or my business partner. This is all new territory for us, which has been, a work in progress. But we both love cool T-shirts, so it was like, how can we take this message and do something? It's kind of educating through fashion is how we sort of see it.
So what was the process of? So the process was first getting the trademark for HerStory. Mm-hmm. Was it pretty amazing to you that no one had trademarked that?
The entire time I was like, there's no way. Someone definitely has this. And people own the trademark for HerStory on everything but apparel.
Interesting.
Yeah,
so what types of other things do people own the trademarks on?
They use it for names of businesses or on coffee mugs and things like that. It's just, but apparel, no one had it. We were like, oh my God. I could not believe it, honestly.
So from the idea, and once you had the trademark, mm-hmm. How did you begin?
Well, again, so my business partner and myself, this is not our thing. We had no idea about this industry at all. So we went through a few different stages. We started using a drop shipper, which orders from our website would go to them. They would fulfill it and ship it out. Because we both have other full-time jobs, and we thought, we could test it and see it without mm-hmm. kind of disrupting our lives. And that ended up not working so well, and so we decided, but we were getting a really good response, and people were really loving it, and orders were coming in, but the drop shipper that we used didn't really adhere to our standards, so we thought, if we're going to do this, we have to take control of it.
Well, that's a good point to take a look at. What is a drop shipper for people who don't know, and what do you have to look out for?
Yeah, well, it's a fulfillment company. So again, we put up all the designs. Someone would order, it would all go through our website and go to the drop shipper. They would see the order, they would print it and ship it off. So we never saw the product. And then when people were receiving our shirts and then posting on our social media pages, we were going, oh my God, that's not. The design's printed too big, it doesn't look right, and we were like, we need to be in control.
Maria was certainly fortunate that HerStory hadn't been trademarked for apparel. For more information on how trademarks work and how to check availability, head to the Patent and Trademark Office at uspto.com. The website provides plenty of information on how to get something trademarked. The site also includes a video series that is super helpful to guide you through the process. Coming up, Maria tells us about her hopes for the business and how she plans to grow HerStory into a movement that celebrates the achievements of female historical figures.
The only game in town is right here at Resorts World Casino in Queens. We have over 5,000 games on 2 spacious floors, plus great dining and entertainment.
New members can win up to $1,000 by playing Hit Me Blackjack. Take a hit. Take a spin. Take away free play. Earn points for gaming, dining, and shopping.
Resorts World Casino, New York City. Come play, dine, and unwind.
Where high values drive high demand. Where getting ahead comes from giving back. Where the education earns national recognition. Where? Here at Malloy College. Money Magazine's #1 value all-star in the nation.
Welcome back to the Working Woman Report. I'm Allison Hans. Maria and her business partner at HerStory Apparel were pretty brave when they realized the original setup wasn't working for them. She tells us how, after some research, they took a leap of faith and gained full control over their business. So it's like you had the idea that this is what the shirt or that the sweatshirt should look like, but you didn't have really like the quality control.
Exactly. And, you know, that's a big part, especially for a small business, is, you know, if someone gets a shirt and it's, you know, this logo is printed huge and it looks silly, they're never going to come back and shop again, no matter how much they like the message or the brand, if it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So we ended up using a local printer in Los Angeles, which is where I am based out of, and that worked really well, but we started looking like, oh, our printer's making more money than we are. We've got to figure this out. So we decided to buy all the printing equipment and do it ourselves.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that was a really big leap.
Yeah.
So,
it was, yeah. It was
so
good. It took a lot of practice, and I'll give it to Jill, my business partner. She does all of it, and she's incredible and meticulous in detail.
Oh, that's amazing. So did you have to rent a warehouse and then buy how many machines, and how did it?
Interestingly enough, we have a little shop up in Beverly, Massachusetts. It's about 500 square feet, and it's perfect. We have one printer, and it's direct to garment. So if you could order one of any of our 50 designs, and then we print it to order, essentially. So instead of doing like screen printing, you'd get 1,000 of each design, and then you'd just be sitting on inventory. We thought, because we have so many designs and so many styles of shirts, direct to garment, it's a little more expensive, but it's better for us to do it that way. And it's really cool because it doesn't sit on top of the fabric like screen printing. It is kind of like almost burned into the fabric, so it gives it like a cool, distressed kind of look.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
so did you lease the space and then purchase the equipment and then start?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, we were still using the printer in Los Angeles once we got the printer and everything, just so we could figure out how to use it and make sure we could do it, you know, because neither of us had any experience in this. We were just kind of practicing.
So what did the trajectory of the business look like? For people who are starting out, you were selling how many T-shirts or sweatshirts in the beginning, and then let's say 6 months or a year in, and what was the tipping point?
I think the first couple months we actually got a lot of orders because we had huge support from family and friends and things like that, and it dipped off a little. I think we did 25,000 in sales the first year, which is not a tremendous amount. And then we started finding things like the Mass Conference for Women, and we did that the first time 3 years ago, I guess. So yeah, this is our third time. And once we got in front of an audience that understood what we were doing, it was game-changing. It was really game-changing. And so now we're still small, but I think the biggest thing for us is how do we get our message out to more people? Because it's very well received. It's just how do you get it to the right people, you know?
And you were saying that first night at the conference you sold out.
Yeah, well, that was last year. So that was, you know.
Last year was
it a little over a month after the election?
And so you sold out, and you had to print that night.
Yeah, the first night of the cocktail reception, we sold out because we made a shirt with a quote from Hillary's concession speech that is, never stop believing that fighting for what is right is worth it. It was gone. Within, I think it was like an hour and a half of the cocktail reception, just gone. And so we had to go back and print a bunch more for the next day.
And speaking of Hillary, now the campaign came to you to license
They did.
HerStory during the campaign. How did that go down?
Well, yeah, they ended up licensing our trademark from us, which, I mean, Jill and I were huge supporters of Hillary and just think everything she stands for is incredible and amazing. And so, yeah, we were beside ourselves. Of course, it was amazing.
And so what did the campaign do? They were able to use HerStory on all T-shirts, or?
So they did a designer, like 10 special T-shirts that were made by some famous designers, and one of them said, "Make HerStory," which is, you know, that's our word that we own on apparel. So, yeah, and so they licensed it from us, and then they had a design. I'm spacing out, but it was a big designer in New York City that created and sort of designed the shirt. Yeah, it was pretty incredible, and we got to do a press release, and it was very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So where are you right now? I know you're trying to build the business, get HerStory out.
That's right.
What have been the biggest challenges in running the business? What have you kind of like just dove in there,
Yeah,
and
we did.
you're figuring it out. So what are the biggest lessons that you've learned that you can share with someone else who might want to do this?
Well, especially in the sort of T-shirt apparel world, I really believe in direct-to-garment printing. Not only do I think it looks better, but I did a lot of research before we started this, and screen printing is very appealing because it's cheaper to print. But then you end up, you know, you have to print in bulk, essentially, to get like the discounts, you know? And so, especially for a company like ours, we have so many designs, we would have been drowning in inventory, and we would have been done in 6 months probably, because you're just hedging your bets that people are going to want these certain designs. And so with direct garment, it gives you the freedom to print directly, you know, based on what people are ordering, which that would be, to me, I think that was the smartest move that we made.
But when you're talking about a direct-to-garment machine, those are pretty pricey. I mean, how much do you have to spend for?
We did buy the top of the line, and it's expensive. It was about $26,000.
Okay.
And that's for the printer, and then you need a heat press, and if you're printing with white ink, you need another machine that sort of does a pre-treatment to the fabric before it really accepts the white ink. So yeah, it's an investment. You can also find local direct-to-garment printers. Again, you're going to end up paying a little more out of pocket, but then you have the flexibility to change your designs and all these things and not just get stuck with a bunch of product that's not moving.
And so with the printer, someone runs it. Your partner will run it, but that's. I mean, how does that work?
It's really kind of funny. It's like a printer you would print paper to. So it goes. The designs are all on the computer, and we send them to the printer, and that T-shirt goes on a platen, and then the platen goes in the machine, and it prints out like on a piece of paper almost. Then you take it off and you put it under the heat press. That's the whole process.
And then if you're getting the individual orders, how do you get the materials? Where are you ordering the materials from if it is one at a time? Because then aren't you missing out on the bulk purchasing power?
So we do order from distributors, and we get a special price because we're wholesalers. So we essentially just buy we have a bunch of blanks sitting in our office ready to go. So, you know, and as they start being shipped out, we'll replenish the stock. So it's pretty rare that we get an order and we're like, oh, we don't have that. So we keep it stocked, and just once they go out, we fill them up, kind of a thing. So it's a bit of a dance, though. And we use all of the apparel that we print on is all WRAP certified and ethically made, and it's a great company out of Los Angeles called Bella Canvas, and then we use Next Level too. But yeah, it's all no sweatshops or any, you know.
So what do you hope next for the company? Is it just getting more people to buy the product, or what are the goals at this point?
Of course, to grow the business to the point where, you know, it's our only focus. But I think we're doing something more than just a business. I think we are starting a movement. I think it's important for women and little girls to know where they came from, whose shoulders they're standing on, who paved the way for all of us. And to me, these women are so incredible. They should be treated like rock stars and put on T-shirts, and you should know who they are. You know, it's been this really strange experience because we'll research and get so excited, like, oh my God, did you hear about Sybil Ludington? Like, this is the craziest thing. And then you go from that excitement to like, wait a minute, why don't I know who that is? Why don't I, you know what I mean? So it's like excitement turns to anger for a second because you're like, why? You know, I think on a subconscious level we tell little kids, you know, that only great things are done by men because we never spend any time in history classes learning about the women who have done the most incredible things. You know, we just don't talk about it. So
it's because we're like hanging on to these textbooks from like 1975.
I know, it's insane. So, you know, of course every business wants to make money, and we do give back to, once a year we give back to charities that, you know, improve the lives of women and girls. And, you know, our hope is the bigger we get, the more good we can do, and also just really starting this movement and sharing information and educating.
What are do you have some other lessons that you've learned? Obviously the direct-to-garment printer was a big one. Did you have like, we love to hear about mistakes or failures, because that's where we learn.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, we've had plenty. Trust me. It's
is there
we
one?
sometimes look at each other and we're like, what are we doing? Well, I don't know. We'll try this and we'll see. And if that didn't work, and then I mean, I think it's just being resilient and going, okay, that didn't work. How can we change it? And we're in a pretty good groove right now, but a lot of it came from experiences like the drop shipper situation. Like that sounded perfect. Like they take a little bit of a cut, but they do all the work and they send it out, and we can, you know, test the waters and see if people are responding to what we're doing. And then that didn't work. Okay, now what are we gonna do? Okay, well now that's not working. What are we gonna do? So I think it's just being resilient and trying to learn from the mistakes and fix them. That would be, you know, that's.
What role has social media played in the development of your brand?
It's huge. I mean, that's really the main way that we advertise. Because, you know, we're a small business. We can't afford national commercials. We can't. But that's the easiest way to directly target, you know, the people that are looking for what you're doing.
So do you find Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what is the best for you and why?
I would say Facebook currently, because the way you can target your audience. So if you're going to put an ad out, you can literally target down to like education level, interests, where they live, what political, you know, Democrat, Republican, do they like Hillary Clinton? Like all of these little nuanced things, you can kind of, you know, really dial in who your ads are going to. Right, because that would be the best thing to do is get your ad in front of somebody who would be interested in it. So, and
with Facebook, with the ad spend, that's like a whole other story. How do you decide? How would you describe like Facebook marketing? Because some people initially just think Facebook marketing is putting an article or a picture of your product up there, but yes, when you do these spends, there's a whole formula to it.
I know we're still kind of figuring it out too. It's pretty, it's pretty involved. You know, it really is. But it has worked for us. And we've been talking about too, like really spending some money and really kind of doing a bigger push than what we've been doing so far, because it's proven itself to work. We just have to really do a big push.
It's understood that if you get more than $4 in revenue for every $1 you spend on advertising, you've had a pretty profitable campaign. For many small companies, advertising on Facebook provides unprecedented access to their target audience with a relatively low investment. So even if learning the ropes of online advertising is time-consuming and at times exasperating, it is worth reading through all the tips and recommendations that make up a successful campaign. For more information, simply head to Facebook business pages. Coming up, we'll take a look at the effect the various women's movements taking place right now are having on the business.
The only game in town is right here at Resorts World Casino in Queens. We have over 5,000 games on 2 spacious floors, plus great dining and entertainment.
New members can win up to $1,000 by playing Hit Me Blackjack. Take a hit. Take a spin. Take away free play. Earn points for gaming, dining, and shopping.
Resorts World Casino, New York City. Come play, dine, and unwind.
Where high values drive high demand. Where getting ahead comes from giving back. Where the education earns national recognition. Where? Here at Malloy College. Money Magazine's #1 value all-star in the nation.
Welcome back to the Working Woman Report. I'm Allison Hans. Maria's strength and entrepreneurial drive resonates with the message she's trying to get across with her story: to honor and inspire and ignite a new generation of accomplished women. She tells us about one of the unsung heroines of the past and her remarkable adventure. Have you found with the recent Me Too movement that there's been a surge in people responding to your product?
I don't know if there was a direct tie from the Me Too, but I will say after the election, and I think all of these things are sort of intertwined, right? I think the climate's changing. I think people are waking up. I think people are demanding respect for themselves and for, women are recognizing their place in the world, and it's not what we've all been told, where we, even subconsciously, that we belong over here and we're not worth as much. So it's not directly linked maybe to the Me Too thing, but again, it's that whole climate that's shifting, and it's really exciting for us, yeah.
What is your personal background? You seem pretty strong,
Yeah.
straightforward. Have you always been this way, or is there been an evolution?
I think there's always an evolution. I was a bit shy, growing up, but I think a little bit, but also maybe not. I don't know. As an athlete, I think sports teaches you to kind of have a little bit of extra strength somewhere, But yeah, I think, I actually just celebrated a pretty big birthday, so I think with that you kind of find a little more strength too. I'm 40 now, so it's like I don't mince my words as much as I used to. I don't say sorry, the way that I used to. I caught myself doing that all the time. As a woman, I guess it's just something in our minds that gets put there at an early age, and everything is, I'm sorry. It's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. So, yeah, it's cool, and it's really fun to be a part of a company that, like, I really feel like we can make a change in the world, however small. I really think that we can do that, and it's exciting.
What are some of the products? Can you tell us? We know they're T-shirts, sweatshirts, but some of the big sellers. What are people responding to with the different sayings?
Well, so we have historical element for sure. We try to keep ourselves relevant too. So we have a Reclaiming My Time shirt. When Maxine Waters, in the Senate that was her saying. That was amazing. When she was being talked over, and she stopped and she said, "No, I'm reclaiming my time." And then we have she was Warren, nevertheless she persisted, which was what Mitch McConnell said to Elizabeth Warren, has now become a rally cry. Those are big sellers for us, yeah.
So I would think that you're paying pretty close attention to the news and
Yeah.
what's happening, because in your particular business, with the direct-to-garment aspect, speed, I would think speed to market is
Yeah.
really...
And that's another benefit of the direct garment, because it's as quick as you can come up with a design, you can be printing.
That's awesome.
So you really can stay relevant and, up to speed with whatever's happening.
What do you think, in this climate with women, where do you see things heading? I find it interesting that when we're talking about with the claims of sexual harassment or allegations of sexual assault, there are concerns that there's going to be a backlash, that perhaps men won't want to have meetings with women, or women will not get opportunities because the fear. What's your take on?
I was just reading an article, I think, the CEO of Facebook.
Oh, Sheryl Sandberg.
She just wrote an article about that very thing that you're talking about and how the backlash will be potentially, companies not wanting to hire women. I think it's a risk that was definitely needed. It was needed. We needed to say enough of this. And I think, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a backlash, but my hope is that it just, it provides a safer work environment and more opportunity for women. I hope. That would be my hope. No, I don't think it'll be that smooth. I think there definitely will be challenges and some backlash, but my hope is that it moves us forward as a society, as human beings, I'm a TV producer, and I've been one for 14 years, and that's a boys' club, so I'm familiar with all of this, and it's, I don't know, I hope these conversations change the trajectory of where we're going, I'm hopeful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm hopeful.
I would think printing shirts for young girls is kind of special.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, our tagline is honor, inspire, ignite. So it's honoring the past, inspiring the women of today, and igniting the future. So that's our goal, is the next generation to know you can do anything, literally anything. And all these women did these incredible things, faced up against the most insane odds ever, and they did it, So to me, that's the most exciting.
To close it out, who are some of your favorites that we might not know about?
Well, I have to say, Sybil Ludington. She's essentially the female Paul Revere, although you've never heard of her, right?
Nope.
She was 16 years old. She rode 40 miles through the night on a horse side saddle, because she had a dress on, to rally up her father's militia. And by dawn, she had everybody ready to fight the battle. So, and nobody talks about her. It was like amazing, right?
So what did you put on the shirt?
There's a statue of her that we kind of did our own version of that. And it was American HerStory.
Awesome.
Yeah. There are so many. I mean, every day we uncover something new, and you're just like, oh my God, this is so cool.
It's such a great company. It's such a great idea, and I'm just so excited to see new and inspiring women every day, and what you come up with.
Awesome.
Because you're so creative.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much
for
joining us today.
I appreciate it.
Take care.
Awesome, you too.
Sybil Ludington's story should serve us all as motivation to keep fighting for what we believe in. She, together with many other exceptional women, made a real mark in history. Now Maria is determined to keep the accomplishments of these fabulous women alive and well. With that, we come to an end of this week's edition of the Working Woman Report. For more on these and other stories, be sure to check out our website, workingwomanreport.com, and connect with us in the social media world at Facebook and Twitter. Join us next time for more amazing stories on our fabulous women. Who knows? Maybe you're next. See you then.